I said earlier we were going to do 3 videos. I lied. I'm going to do a 4th one just to show quickly this last section of the cost model. So we've got this pack level costs model also. So on the energy storage system side, it's divided into 3 parts. It's the assembly of the DC bus, which essentially means the racking and containerization of the system. And then we've got the installation cost. I'm sorry, it's 2 parts. The installation cost, which is looking at taking those containers and putting them into installing them on an AC basis. So most important inputs here are you're going to choose your energy density. Unfortunately, it's not linked to your previous selection, but you want to do that. It'll scale accordingly for the number of racks you need, the number of bus bars, etc. You're looking at the size of your project both by power and by energy. So in this, what we've selected here is 100 megawatts, 100 megawatt hours. And then the size of your container, 40 foot, 20 foot, or, usually they're 40 or 22 feet. Then you go into these actual into the inputs. So you're inputting them on the right side here. So for instance, we're adding a module premium of $4, meaning if you're installing modules into the racks, you're spending an extra $4 a kilowatt hour to do that. And then other costs for the modules, for the cabling, racking, bus bars, and then the labor to do this. And then you end up with a rack. The second section is the electronics in those racks, the BMS, DC power conditioners, control systems, and then a few others if you want to add those other electronic items. And again, you're putting these in on a rough dollar per kilowatt hour level. And then you get to the container level on the DC side. You've got a energy management system, fire control, extinguishing, gas monitoring, everything that goes into a containerized energy storage system. You've got the gross margin of the integrator that's putting this all together and their profit, and you end up with the final number for this total DC bus. So this is a container filled with batteries, full system on a DC level, and we ended up here at $236 based on our inputs. Then you go into installation, and that includes the inverters as well as transformers, the plant energy management system, and then the full integrated, so things like the high voltage substation, the plant dispatch energy management system. Everything is in here. We've got the site land costs, site preparation costs, and you end up with the final number for an AC installed system of 100 megawatts, 100 megawatt hours. We're spending about $362 a kilowatt hour to make this system. Cairn has put in these numbers from a number of different sources. We just generally our network of people in the business we talk to. We also get good data from EPRI reports, and we also work with NREL. We help them with their levelized cost of energy projects, and we get information from them. There's also a number of published papers around, especially in the photovoltaics. So we'll take things like land costs and fencing and ground preparation type things from the photovoltaics industry too. Quickly, the EV layer also does something similar. You're going to put in your density, the size of the pack, meaning the number of kilowatt hours. This is the critical one, is the number of kilowatt hours in the pack. That's where you choose this. And the size of motor, which will correspond to the cost of that motor. So we break this down into module cost, which is essentially packaging, labor, energy, putting together that module of cells. Then we've got pack costs, which includes the BMS, the power electronics, thermal management system, labor, etc. And we also do drivetrain, although this goes outside of our battery purview, but sometimes people want to see this. And this is, you take the battery pack, you put in you're also we're trying to cost out the charger, the charging cable, the high voltage cabling, the transmission gearbox, and of course the motors. Just to give a sense of the overall cost of making an electric vehicle. You also have at the bottom, you can decide, are we shipping this battery pack to a car manufacturer, which will impact pricing too. So that's our EV module. It's not nearly as sophisticated as the rest of the model. We are working on a better version of this that's going to include mass and volume, as well as have better scaling numbers to determine you change something in a cell and it changes the pack weight overall by X amount, that sort of thing. And hopefully we can get that out once we finish it sometime in the next few weeks to everybody. But for right now, this is our EV pack there. So that's the cost model all together.